Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Saturday, November 22nd. Today, a 28-point peace plan written in Miami, blessed in Moscow, and aimed straight at Ukraine's throat. A 100 million Energatom heist erupts in the middle of blackouts in Ukraine, and Russia's economy is so broken it's selling its gold to keep killing Ukrainians, and then maybe to stay alive. Welcome to Ukraine Update, where Russian lies get wrecked, freedom gets the last word. The best way to summarize this week, and Einstein said it best, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. This week, Trump's circle dropped a secret 28-point deal that demands Ukraine to surrender to Russia, shrink its army, and ditch NATO, or lose US support. Zelensky fired back, dignity over abandonment. Ukraine exposed a 100 million nuclear sector corruption scheme. Ministers fired, arrests made, proving Kyiv fights its own rot harder than Russia ever fought its oligarchs. And Russia? The economy is collapsing so fast, Putin is now selling off gold reserves just to keep the invasion running. So let's get into it. And also, don't forget to smash that like it's a Russian drone, share the stream, and hit subscribe so you never miss when the truth goes live. I'm Slavi. Let's say hello to our panel today. Commander Macmillan, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Just livid over this peace plan. Johnny, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Hopefully we get to discuss this disgusting peace plan proposal drafted by Russia and loosely translated by Google Translate with some weird wording by this idiot Witkov, who's never been to Russia, who's not a politician, doesn't understand anything in life except for taking Russian money. But yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah, we will for sure. And we have our host, Dick. How are you doing today?
I'm appalled over this peace plan because let's be absolutely frank. This is a complete and utter surrender plan, right?
Absolutely.
I want to give the highest award we have to Ronald Gump for coming up with the worst peace plan in the history of fighting. golden cock can only go to the golden leaf man of orange. So where do we start?
Yeah, that's a good question. Just before that, I think the headlines got it right. Like Politico saying Witkoff needs a psychiatrist. I think he needs a Vatnik clinic than a psychiatrist, but he needs help. But yeah, that was one of my most favorite headlines this week. So yeah, how did we get here? The Trump administration leaked a 28-point plan this week that was concocted by Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff and Russian economic fixer-upper Kirill Dmitriev. This capitulation plan, demanding Ukraine cede Donbass and Crimea to Russia, cap its military at 100,000 troops, and abandon NATO aspiration in exchange for vague U.S. security guarantees. But that's the
I
part
like how they
that's in the
settle on.
same.
I like how they settle on 100,000, which is the exact number that the Versailles Treaty limited the German army to after World War One. And
Oh,
we
I
all
didn't
know
know
what
that.
a success that treaty was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That makes sense now. But yeah, it was clearly drafted by the Russians because the way it was written was definitely written in Russian, then translated to English. The way it reads is it was definitely written in Russian.
I've seen Chinglish instructions for Chinese electronics that had better English in them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
I know exactly what you mean.
My summary of this is to paraphrase Monty Python's Wizzo Chocolate Factory sketch, which is plucked morning fresh from Putin's commode, flown by supersonic transport to D.C., where it was spread on Trump's morning breakfast toast.
Also, it has words like expected for Russia. Why not say Russia will not do it, will not invade? Do not. It's just Russia is expected to do this, but not, I mean.
Yeah, because it's a Russian wording. It's very common for Russian language.
Right.
They drafted it. Russians are notoriously bad at English language, and proudly so. They're trying not to know languages. They always try to push their comfort levels with Russian. They insist on it everywhere where they go in Ukraine. And it's a point of pride not knowing English. And this is like so typical. Like Slavia understands, because Slavia, you speak Russian, right? A little bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's
Not
ridiculous.
proud of it, but yeah, I do.
It comes with the region, right? How are you going to get away from it, right? You know.
Yeah.
On its own, there's nothing wrong with knowing an extra language. It's just the people are so disgusting who are pushing it right now. So you kind of feel ashamed for knowing it.
Yeah. I've actually always been weird about it because, like, even like hanging around like Russian girls, I would never tell them that I understand Russian, and I would always kind of like just spy on them and laugh at them behind their back for the shit that they say. I would never be
generally
like,
typical. Have you noticed that you're not the only one? There are some Russians who also choose that tactic as well, like in the stores and stuff like that. You see other Russians there, and you being a Russian, because I had Russian girlfriends, friends, and stuff like that, and they would just try to act like they don't understand Russian and just to distance themselves from other Russians. And
if I'd be Russian,
I think,
I'd also do that. I would keep my head down if I were in their position.
I just don't imagine like Italians or Ukrainians or Americans like being like trying not to know that they're like next to other Americans, you know, next to other countrymen. Like that is so specifically Russian thing.
Yeah, I mean, Australians come to Canada and they learn not to say crikey. It works.
Well, getting back to this I don't even know what to call it, but yeah, now Trump has given Zelensky a deadline to Thanksgiving to either accept or United States will pull out from giving Ukraine intelligence sharing and I guess aid transfers, because now Europe is paying for the military stuff. So I'm not sure what else, but it seems like Zelensky and Ukraine is very, very upset about it. So it's not. That's what I wanted to actually ask Commander Macmillan. What does United States have, like these satellites that Europeans or maybe Japanese can't replace or can replace?
The two biggest things from an intelligence perspective, one is, as you alluded to, all the satellites to provide imagery. And we know that the U.S. has been passing that information to Ukraine for use in targeting. The other, I'm not sure how much we pass, but it's all the NSE communications intercept stuff, which arguably is far more valuable than the imagery. But it's also a lot more subtle, and you have to understand how it's intercepted and the translations and understanding how to use it to your benefit, etc. I'm not positive how much of that information we're passing to the Ukrainians. But that, if it's done right, that gives you a great deal of insight into future plans and operations that their military may be planning.
Okay.
So it gives you an alert that, yeah, they're going to start pushing an offensive in this sector, so you can move your forces to reinforce the threatened area. But again, I don't know how much of that information we've been sharing with them. Now, we do share that information with some of our NATO partners, not all of them, but many of them. And they may be in a position to pass that information on so that it's not directly attributable to the U.S., because I know that's one of the things that the Orange God King's administration is trying to do, is still continue providing support to Ukraine, but do it in a way that's non-attributable. So, we'll sell Patriot missiles to Poland, and then Poland surprisingly sells them to Ukraine. Oh, we didn't do it, so that doesn't aggravate the base, who are all pro-Russian nut jobs anyway.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. When there's a huge missile heading towards Ukraine, does the United States tell Ukraine that, hey, you have a missile coming?
Yeah, right now they do.
Okay, so I'm just connecting the dots here, because right before this plan was released, there was a huge missile attack on Ukraine where 22 people died. And we haven't seen strikes like this, not since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. So now, was that attack not informed about to Ukraine? And will we see more of this? Is United States already stepping back? That's what I'm trying to figure
A
out.
lot of it, I think, hinges on what the system they have in place for passing that information to Ukraine is. So the most valuable asset to use in those situations are the airborne command and control things, the AWACS aircraft, if you will, that are flying near the NATO Ukrainian border. Those things have a really excellent picture and range seeing into Ukraine, but not all the way up to the Russian border. The range doesn't go quite that far. So the reaction time when that aircraft would detect something inbound, pass that information back to NATO command structures, would then forward that information to Ukrainian command forces, alerting them to those inbound missiles. by the time you complete that full loop, it really makes for a very, very short response time for Ukrainian air defenses.
And also, even if Ukraine knows about all those things, Ukraine has very limited anti-air capabilities, which we rely on Europe and United States to be able to shoot down a lot of those missiles. Ukraine is doing a lot of its own right now, the anti-drone things, but you cannot shoot missiles with those, especially ballistic missiles. You need Patriot missiles. You need other things as well,
which are a very limited asset. So the Ukrainian commanders are having to make very tough, short time fuse decisions on, do we want to use one of our few remaining Patriot missiles to shoot down that inbound because it's headed to a critical infrastructure site or a military site?
Right.
And the sad truth is, if the detection says that missile is going to hit an apartment building, that's not a critical piece of infrastructure. So they're not likely to want to waste the missile to engage it. I mean, that's the terrible reality of war.
Yeah. I mean, if they had enough of the damn thing, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if they had enough, but even for NATO, Patriot interceptor missiles are a very limited asset.
They're seriously expensive unit to unit, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're called batteries, right? Batteries for
a battery is the entire assembly of the launchers, the missile direction platforms, the command and control processing center that directs the missiles, etc. So it's not just one.
Right.
It's a set.
Recently, Germany has handed over a Patriot missile system, another one.
Yep.
So,
wow.
Yeah, thank you, Germany.
And then even the missiles
to
themselves.
Understand is they don't have, this giant umbrella that protects all of Ukraine. Realistically, you place one, say, at Hostomel Airport, and then you draw a circle around that launcher that's maybe 40, 50 miles in radius. That's all that missile system can cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what they'll do is position different launchers for that battery at different separated sites to try to expand the coverage, but you're still not getting complete nationwide giant invisible bubble of protection. It protects specific locations.
You know what's odd to me that there's all these European countries that are hoarding these systems, and they're not under
realistically,
threat.
Realistically, you have to, because the way the tensions are getting constantly ratcheted up, there's concern, legitimate concern, in my opinion, that this expands to a theater-wide all Europe versus Russia war. If that happens, they want to have their own protections in case they become the targets.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely a big sabotage attack by Russians in the North Sea in the UK, which we'll definitely come and talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get there, let's get through this 28-point form.
28 points of shit.
Yeah, it's...
Well, as I was saying in the opening discussion chat thread, I said, do you want to simply have us summarize it as total BS and move on?
Yeah.
Or do you really want us to go down every one of the 28 points and say, this is BS, this is BS, this is BS?
Well,
no, I was reading it in the morning yesterday, and I was like, it's as if a clown wrote it. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, yes, you said everything with that phrase.
Yeah.
And also, I don't feel like you need like 28 points. Like it seems to be padded to give it some more weight. There's like 5 or 6 points that Russia really needs. And that's what this whole document is all about. Everything else is like non-substantial, nothing. Like number 1 point, it's called Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed. Like, what does that mean? You know, like it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Like that's a one of the 28 points. Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed. Does that mean anything?
There
No.
has been new stuff added to this, and a lot of it is Trump will be the new head of like peace. Also, the frozen Russian assets will basically go to a Russia-US fund that US will control. I don't think Russians agreed to this. And plus on top of that, the Europeans have to pay 100 billion to go to that fund. It's the most ridiculous thing.
What?
And 50% will go to United States.
Yeah.
So basically, it says
I wonder who
US
put that bullet in there.
Holy, the grift continues.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
So it says US. So it describes US security guarantees, and basically there's nothing there, but it does go into a lot of texts. The first part of that is US will receive compensation for providing guarantees. That's the number one. And second one, it goes if Ukraine
It doesn't
invades
specify the
Russia.
guarantees.
What's that?
It doesn't specify what those guarantees are.
Exactly. It doesn't. But this is the description. So if Ukraine invades Russia, it will lose the guarantees. So that's second point. And then it says if Russia invades Ukraine, and then in parentheses it says except for a rapid coordinated military response, all global sanctions will be restored. So it's completely different response to if Ukraine invades Russia versus if Russia invades Ukraine.
Yeah.
So it kind of leaves the door open for Russia to still attack Ukraine, because it says like except for rapid coordinated military response, which Russia can call
which is a new name for special military operation.
Exactly. That's
not
like
a
Russia.
war. It's a coordinated rapid response. It's different.
Exactly. So, and it says all global sanctions will be restored. So, as part of this thing, Russia wants all the sanctions lifted, right? And then, so Russia can attack Ukraine according to this, and the sanctions will be restored.
Yeah.
So we're back to square one. Again, not
to
nothing for
summarize
Ukraine
it beautifully would be to simply say Russia gets everything it wants, and who cares what Ukraine wants?
Yeah.
And then it
It's
says
also kind of like. Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
And then it says, if Ukraine unintentionally, this is such a Russian thing to write, if Ukraine unintentionally fires a missile at Moscow or St. Petersburg, the guarantees become invalid. So Russia is known to blow up their own cities. Like before they started the second war with Chechnya, there's a good movie. It's called FSB is Blowing Up Russia. All like half of the Russians have seen it. They don't care. They know that that's what they do. They blow up themselves, and then they start a war. So this is like Russia is already writing a window or a door for them to start attacking Ukraine on the back end of these agreements.
Quick shout out here. Who was it in the chat there? I think it was Cordigile there. Where is it? Russian guarantees are worth about as much as toilet paper. But then again, I'm devaluing toilet paper.
Definitely. Toilet paper is useful.
I want to read an
Especially
excerpt
one
from,
that has Putin's face on it. Have you seen that?
I want to read an excerpt from ISW, the Institute for Study of Warfare's assessment and summary of what the 28-point plan says. They said, The deal requires Ukraine to withdraw from all unoccupied parts of Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts. Ukraine will cap its military at 50% of its current strength and abandon, quote, key categories of weaponry. I wonder what those would be. And Ukraine will receive unspecified U.S. security guarantees, which is nebulous language that, you know, is about as valuable as the Budapest Accords. Yeah. It prohibits deployment of foreign troops to Ukrainian soil.
Oh.
Prohibits Ukraine from receiving long-range weapons capable of striking into Russian territory. Forces Ukraine to make Russia an official state language. Forces Ukraine to grant official status to the Russian Orthodox Church Moscow Patriarchy.
So, in other words, the mob.
Well, it's a FSB,
Yeah.
FSB wing, exactly.
religious organization. And it
religious
stipulates
wing.
that the areas of Donbass from which Ukraine would withdraw would then become a demilitarized zone. So basically, any territory that is currently in those oblasts that Ukraine holds, when they withdraw, that becomes neutral zone territory.
Which means
It
Russia
doesn't do
will go
anything
right
like
in.
impose a neutral zone on the Russian-controlled side. No, that would be improper because it's all Russian territory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
And it just goes on and on with it. It's literally, when you put it all together, it's dismantle Ukraine as a sovereign state, except we get to continue to call it a sovereign state because we get control it, and therefore we get its seat on the UN again.
Yeah.
I think my two craziest points were that Russia will pay rent for occupied assets into a U.S. managed reconstruction fund, frozen Russian assets funneled in, and that the U.S. will have veto power over Ukraine's foreign policy for 10 years.
But they retain their sovereignty.
Yeah, somehow.
It's a big word. Nobody knows what it means. We can make it mean what we want it to
It's
mean.
a democratic hoax.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just jump in here, guys.
Part.
I got a shout out here. We had a direct donation through Ko-fi there from White Fishy as a $25 direct shout in solidarity with Ukraine. I love it very much. Thank you, White Fishy, into the UA fund. That will go right away. Huge shout. Thank you very much, White Fishy. Sorry, continue.
There's a fun part about Nazi ideology. Basically, it says that both sides, anytime when they say both sides, it's never like both sides, will lift discriminatory measures and guarantee equal access to Ukrainian and Russian media and education. Nazi ideology and activity will be banned in both countries. By the way, Nazi ideology is officially banned in Ukraine. So this just speaks about Russia. Russia has to ban a Nazi ideology and stop having these summits, Nazi summits that Russia has every year in St. Petersburg and Moscow.
I guess they're going to have to cut off contact with Elon Musk then.
But the point of this thing is just to emphasize that Ukraine is a Nazi country. Russia is not going to ban Nazi ideology within Russia. They love everything German 1930s, 1940s. And then also, you guys can continue.
And Russism isn't, I know there's been a lot of comparisons, but it's not much different.
The really interesting, again, this is only concerning Russia, even though it says all parties. It says all parties of the conflict will receive full amnesty for wartime actions, and agree not to file claims or pursue grievances. So basically, Russia is doing war crimes. The Russian president is wanted by ICC, International Criminal Court. There's no like both sides to this. There's one side that's doing war crimes. Putin is wanted by International Criminal Court. This is just affects Russia only. Like they want everything to be forgiven as part of Ukraine doing everything that Russia wants.
Yeah. So I vote we just move on. We've summarized BS for what it is. Let's cover other important stories. I hate to say it, the 28-point plan is not an important story. It's a misdirect.
We have a live reaction from Zelensky on this whole matter.
Thank you.
I do
I
have
just
some
wanna-
quotes actually that Zelensky did.
Oh, yeah.
Zelensky is taking it seriously, and there's a scandal going on right now in Ukraine, which we'll talk about a bit later. But so he's under a lot of fire right now. If he would sign this deal, I mean, he would never, but if he would, he would be in a lot of trouble. So, but he did address the nation and the whole world, really. And I do have some of his key statements that he said, which are, there comes a moment in the life of every nation when everyone must speak honestly. This is one of the hardest moments in our history. Either 28 difficult points or the hardest winter and more risks. He also said, yes, we are made of steel, but even the strongest metal can eventually break. Said, I'm addressing everyone. Stop the bickering and pull yourselves together. This was addressed more toward the scandal. And he also said, I know I'm not alone. Ukrainians are with me. We didn't betray Ukraine on February 24th, and we won't betray it now. For Zelensky to make this kind of speech, it was probably reminded me of when the invasion happened. At first, it was definitely up there. One of those speeches was stark, definitely.
I think right now Zelensky just needs to wait it out. Trump has a very short attention span. He will try
Short
to
as his
pretend like
pecker.
he will. Yeah, about as much. He will pretend that he really cares about this. Of course, Russians will nag him, but he gets tired of nagging as well. So I think Zelensky is doing the right thing. He's pretending like he's taking this agreement seriously. Unfortunately, this agreement is a big win for Russia because to them, it doesn't. They understand that Ukrainians cannot do this. It would be ridiculous. Nobody in history of the world ever agreed to anything like that. That's ridiculous on all fronts.
Isn't it also true that Zelensky himself can't even say, fine, we'll give up territory? Isn't there like more to it politically in Ukraine than that?
He can't legally. It's
Right.
by the law. He can't. It has to go through the Congress and the government. I think it's in the law that it's not up to him to even to agree with another country to give up Ukraine's land.
Yeah.
I don't think anywhere in the world one person can agree to give part of the like Trump cannot give part of United States to Russia, like even if he wants to. It has to be done by some council, Congress.
He won't try.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Trump would.
So I think the correct strategy for Zelensky is to wait it out. For Russia, it's a win because they're getting what they want. like Trump said, he will stop intelligence sharing. He will stop aid to Ukraine if Ukraine doesn't sign this. So that's a win for Russia, right? So Ukraine doesn't sign this, Russia wins. Ukraine signed this, Russia wins. So for Russia, it's a win-win. The only strategy left for Ukraine is to kind of like navigate just the waiting game. Pretend like, oh, there's this first, we don't understand what is Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed. What is that? Can we talk about that? Just pretend, like drag out time. I think in about 1 to 2 months, it's all going to be forgotten. Like the minerals deal, the minerals deal with Trump. It was going to be the big thing where after which Ukraine was going to be fully supported. The guarantees, security guarantees.
Yeah.
The only way for Ukraine to have security guarantees is to sign the mineral deal. Now Trump forgot all about this.
Yeah.
And now the only way for Ukraine to have security guarantees is to sign the 28-point peace plan. So we're just going to have to wait it out. Hopefully Trump doesn't do anything. Well, we know he's going to do stupid things, but nothing that's going to jeopardize Ukraine too much.
You know what Ukraine needs to do here? This is being funny, but a little bit, just get somebody who's an old world craftsman kind of person to go over with some gold leaf and tools and just say, hey, you want me to dress up the office a bit more for you? And Trump will bend over backwards and give you any damn thing you want. You know?
Unfortunately, and I hate to be speculative and talk about this, I think this is tied to Epstein files just about to be released.
Yep.
100%.
And we did get the information, the emails, and now we know for sure that Putin does in fact have information on Trump. And when that came in, that's when Trump flipped. Again, he became very pro-Russia. The timing, it's aligning perfectly.
Absolutely.
And now
This
that we're
is-
paying attention and talking about this, they flipped the news cycle. They'll have enough time to redact Trump's name from the Epstein files.
Yeah. This is not about the international conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This is entirely about domestic politics in the US. He has to keep distracting people from all of his crimes and his ties with Epstein and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up with this and making these big claims of, if Ukraine doesn't agree, I'm going to cut all my aid and blah, blah, blah. He's more and more becoming a powerless lame duck because, as we saw back during the Watergate situation with Nixon, once a president becomes mired in major corruption scandal stuff, it's impossible for them to get anything else done because everything is focused around trying to distract people from what's been going on.
Did you guys see how he said, quiet piggy?
Yeah.
Like he's losing it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, he moved in a whole aircraft carrier group, right? Yeah. He will go to any lengths right now. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that the higher ups in the GOP are starting to realize he's now become a liability for them. They look at the results of it's not even a midterm, it's like an off-cycle election in November that occurred, and how disastrous those results were for the GOP.
Mm.
And they're saying, going into November next year, if things aren't fixed, we're not even going to exist as a party. So I think they're trying to figure out how to sideline him. Trying to get rid of him may be very problematic because his cabinet, they're not going to do anything against him. They all owe their existence to him. So the 25th Amendment isn't going to occur. But they're trying to figure out some way to shove him in the background so his taint doesn't spill over onto all the other GOP candidates running in next November.
Yeah, this whole Epstein vote really proves that, I think, Commander, because they voted towards their districts and the people and stuff, not in,
Overwhelmingly,
yeah.
like one vote said no, and all the rest said, yeah, release the files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also know that now Putin, like we know this for sure, has compromise on Trump. And it could be like Trump is getting pressured from both sides, from, here at home in the United States, and from Russians being like, well, got to do this.
Damn right, man. It's just his world's collapsing, right? You can just watch it. He's losing his cool. I wish it would go quicker because he'd probably be in a rubber room.
By the way,
So
Epstein and Putin, where they knew each other, Epstein used to be in Russia quite a bit. And there is some, I don't know if it's what kind of, sure we can guess what kind of information that is on Trump, but it has been confirmed that Epstein passed that piece of information to Putin. So.
Wasn't there a mention in those emails that Putin might have a picture of Trump blowing booba or something like that?
Yeah.
And technically, like I read that there was a lawsuit against Trump where a small child, 10-year-old child at the time, he's grown now, but he was suing and it was settled outside the court. His nickname was Booba. And he was flying on Epstein's plane, and Trump may have a relationship with him, a couple other boys, and a bunch of other girls as well. So all that came just recently from the emails. And that kind of led to some of the
fact that there are photos of him in the Epstein files with underage girls in partial states of undress.
Wow.
Well, yeah, we know that he used to own a pageant, and he did say himself that he went backstage because there'd be girls changing there. So
yeah.
And somebody else said when they had like girls over at their place or something, maybe it was Epstein or something, Trump was like nose to the glass, like looking at the children, and like he was like just very open about how he likes it.
Wow.
I think the way we help Ukraine right now is we have to fight Trump. Trump is anti-democratic, anti-Western, basically anti-American, I would say, pro-Russian leader right now. He's attacking United States allies. He's attacking Ukraine. He's sucking up to Russia, the only country that wants to destroy United States. Our fight is right here. We have to do what Democrats have done so far all throughout the year, and now it's showing some fruits.
In California, we did it, which was the first. I remember Commander said, "I don't know, it's a far stretch that we voted yes on Proposition 50 to redraw the maps." And California did it. Now there's other states that are following suit. I think Texas is being sued for them not to do that, but I don't.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. Indiana is not going to do it.
And the DOJ is going after California for doing it, even though it was done by the will of the people.
Yeah, we did it right.
It's okay if you do it arbitrarily if you're Republican, but if you do it democratically through an electoral process as a Democrat, that's anti-American. We can't have that.
It's a twisted times right now.
Yeah.
How can they say it with a straight face? I mean, it's just...
I'm subscribed to Senator Mark Kelly. I think he's a great guy. If you guys don't know, he was one of the considerations for vice president for Kamala Harris' office. He's a patriot. He's a veteran. He used to fly planes for United States Air Force.
He's an astronaut.
Was he astronaut?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Or am I mixing it up with sub? I don't. He's like
What a
an
CV.
yeah, he's amazing. And basically, Trump publicly called for his execution. I'm subscribed to his newsletter because I think he's awesome. And
you know the story why that occurred?
What's that?
Because Kelly and a bunch of other veterans, congressperson, senators and Congress people who are Democrats, did a video where they addressed specifically American service personnel and said, you can refuse, and we encourage you to refuse carrying out illegal orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And immediately the entire God King's administration erupted in rage over that.
Yeah.
Calling for all of them, they're traitors, they should be killed, they should be hung publicly, et cetera, because that cuts to the heart of the authoritarian message, which is we have a stranglehold on all power in the country.
Yeah.
We own the military. We can have them used against you. And if these guys are saying you don't have to follow the orders if they're illegal, that threatens that whole aspect of their power.
Yeah.
Commander
this is
McMillan,
actually correct.
We do have a question for you on this topic. And what's going to take for the military to remove Trump?
Sniper?
Yeah. The issue here is that unlike a number of other countries, the United States Constitution does not give the military a specific assignment of removing a government which is illegal. You see that in a number of other constitutions. The one I'm most familiar with, having lived there for several years, is Turkey. The Turkish constitution tasks the Turkish military as protectors of the Turkish Republic, and if a civilian elected government, in the estimation of the military, is posing a direct threat to the safety and survival of the nation, they have a duty to overthrow that civilian government, seize power, and within 1 year hold free elections to bring in another freely elected civilian government.
Wow.
They've done that several times. The U.S. does not have a clause like that in our Constitution. The sole aspect that comes close to it is when you swear your oath of enlistment or service as a commissioned officer, you swear to protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But that's very vague in its wording.
Yeah. I mean, technically, if you want to take that at true face value, Donald Trump himself is an enemy of the American Constitution right now.
100%.
I agree with you, but
I know
the issue there is who makes the determination.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between, say, the Turkish Constitution and the American one. In the Turkish Constitution, basically their equivalent of the Joint Chiefs of Staff have the right and the duty to make that determination.
Right.
We don't have that. So, Major or Colonel so-and-so deciding, yeah, I've decided Trump is a domestic enemy and I'm going to stage a coup. He's not covered. That's an illegal activity because he has not received direction from an appointed authority to take that action. So it's a very strange, nebulous zone.
Yeah, that's like swampland in Florida, man.
Yeah, no kidding. And the one thing I think just about any other military officer worry about is if the U.S. military, without having that clause in the Constitution unilaterally takes action to remove an elected government, we're setting the stage for that to occur time and time again. And we move away from what used to be the peaceful transition of government from one party to another to the only legitimate way, legitimate being, the future viewpoint. The only way to remove or unseat a government is through violence.
Right.
It sets that as a precedent. We definitely do not want to go down that street.
Yeah, because we don't want something like January 6th to, never mind.
But January 6th is, it's private citizens being mobilized by extremists and such. That was never anything even resembling a legal move.
No, exactly. Funny how many of them look military with all their outfits, though.
Mule Team 6, yeah.
Where were we there? Yeah.
Great questions coming in. There's another question for Commander McMillan, that the problem with the last U.S. security guarantees assurances was that Congress never voted to confirm them.
Yes and no. The big issue wasn't so much that Congress did not ratify the Budapest Accord agreement, although that's part of the issue. I'm not downplaying that as an important aspect of it. But the big issue was that it never specified what those security guarantees were. So, assuming it had been ratified and Russia then violates the agreement and invades Ukraine, U.S. can look at the invasion and say, yep, well, we're going to honor our security guarantees by issuing a strongly worded statement against it.
Yeah.
And
at this point, that would be a welcome change.
Wouldn't it, though?
But a strongly worded statement.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you're going to have some sort of mutual defense treaty, NATO being an example, you need to specify what kind of guarantees you're expecting. NATO does that. It's a bit nebulous, but it still specifies that an attack on one is an attack on all, and all other members should come to the aid of a member whose security has been violated. It doesn't specify,
how much, with what.
Yeah, it doesn't say Portugal must send 1 division's worth of troops and Spain a division and a half. It just says you must contribute to their defense. It can be monetarily. Nothing in Article 5 says you have to send forces. It can be monetary, it can be aid in kind, it can be troops, what have you. But at least it specifies that you're expected to provide something concrete. Security guarantees in the Budapest Accords was so nebulous that literally a document would have been all that was required to fulfill that guarantee.
This reminds me, Keith Kellogg is quitting. We don't know if he's being pushed out or quitting. Yeah, he's stepping down in January. And this also came out a couple of days ago, that while this plan came afloat to capitulate basically for Ukraine, and that's when he announced that he's stepping down. It sounds like that him and crazy fucking Witkoff we're heading, what is it called? Button
heads.
Yeah, butting heads. Thank you. And yeah, this is, I think, terrible news, because Kellogg is the only one in the administration who's been to Ukraine, and that's understands Ukraine in a way, understands military. But yeah, Commander McMillan, what are your thoughts on this, and Keith Kellogg stepping down?
On who's stepping down again?
Keith Kellogg, the envoy to Ukraine, U.S. envoy.
I think it's unfortunate. As you note, he's a guy who's very familiar with the region and all the issues involved and such. In theory, his stepping down might allow another person who is more qualified. I don't know how you determine that, but the reality in the current political environment, it will be somebody, if they even do appoint a replacement, it will be somebody who's, appointed for their ability to shove their nose up Trump's butt.
Mhm.
I hope so, because if will they appoint anybody new? I don't know, because if it's going to be Witkoff now, kind of the head point person doing this, we're fucked because he need a psychiatrist, as everybody's saying.
Exactly.
So
It essentially doesn't matter if Keith Kellogg is stepping down, because they did not involve him in any of these processes that are taking place right now. The reason
They
he's
did, but they
stepping,
marginalized his involvement to the point where it was kind of meaningless.
Yeah.
yeah, there's no signature. He's not even the one presenting the document to the Ukrainians. They sent some military secretary to Ukraine with an order to deliver it. It's like a monkey can do that job.
because
Like
it was,
just that,
they
Also
chickened
one of who
out,
said that
actually,
to people.
because
Yeah.
Witkoff was supposed to come to Turkey, to Ankara, when Zelensky was meeting with Erdogan to talk about this. And I guess Trump and Witkoff chickened out, couldn't present this plan. And then they got I forget what the guy's position that actually went to Ukraine to hand it over and tell Ukraine to capitulate. Like a head of military. I've never heard of the guy, honestly, but
the guy who handed over the document,
yeah.
yeah, he's like he's an office worker. Basically, he has to go, like he has a job, like he has a
Right.
ticket. He has to physically arrive and hand over. He's not taking part in any kind of decision making.
He's
not a
basically one of
decision-maker.
Hegseth's flunkies.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like
Yeah.
if Kellogg was involved in any kind of capacity, he would give his opinion on the 28th big beautiful peace plan, and his opinion would be shove it up
Yeah.
your ass, basically. He was not involved in any capacity. The only people who were involved are Russians, Google Translate, and an idiot Witkoff.
Yeah.
And they did not even have the decency to go and present the plan to Ukrainians themselves, because they could not do it with a straight face. They had to send like a trained professional to go and deliver a document.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, most likely Kirill Dmitriev's piece of work, and he played United States. He came to United States to stop Trump's sanctions on Russia. He's like their economic fixer-upper guy. He has the money because he's the head of the Russia Wealth Fund, which is now not maybe poverty fund,
Yeah.
perhaps, since they're selling gold now. But
Yeah. I think it's more like a garage sale at this point.
he
Everything
came here.
must go.
He's a very dangerous character because he played United States like a fiddle, and this is most likely his work. There's been a quick on X where Witkoff commented really quick, like, whose work is this? And he said, K, which is probably Kirill Dmitriev. And yeah, the United States has been played like a fiddle.
Yeah.
Witkoff was like probably just read over it. He was like, yeah, looks great, obviously. Trump's gonna love this. He's gonna be making money off of it, and frozen Russian assets. He's gonna be in control of everything. The head of peace, and yeah, it was the most ridiculous. And of course, then Trump most likely didn't read it. Not he would care because he loves it. So this was very, and I hate to say it, this was done very in an incredible way. How Kirill Dmitriev came here and played United States and did this. I think he's a, because we started saying like he's a very low level guy. I think he's a very dangerous player at this point.
Seems like there's a definite high possibility.
He did something that actually Lavrov probably couldn't do it, because Lavrov failed to stop the sanctions.
Yeah.
So now we have Witkov and now Kirill Dmitriev, who are not diplomats, which, look at the plan. You clearly see, like, they know nothing about foreign policy. And now you have like two guys in finance. Well, one's in real estate, one's in finance.
Yeah.
Basically concocting the future.
Yeah. Two guys that are like one tube of lube away from a hand job. Great.
Yeah.
You know,
the American is so ridiculously dumb. That's Kirill Dmitriev played him like a fiddle.
I mean, if Trump wants to make a deal, Russia will make a deal. Like, what is a better deal maker than somebody who's stuck in a corner, like Russia is, with a crumbling economy, with a gold fund depleted, which, you know, they just started selling gold for the first time in history since the beginning of this war. And they already went through 57% of it, right? So they had 405 tons of gold. Right now, they're down to 232 tons. So they're bleeding.
yeah.
That's the best person or entity to make a deal with, right? Somebody who is desperate. You know, so Trump being a great deal maker and not having a moral compass or a backbone or human decency, he only sees dollar signs and ability to make the best possible deal.
Yeah.
Russia will make the best possible deal for you. Ukraine doesn't have to make these outrageous deals because Ukraine is winning on the battlefield. Ukraine is in the right. Ukraine is defending its own territory. Ukraine is not doing any war crimes. Ukraine is not headed by Putin, who is wanted by International Criminal Court.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if all you care about is making a deal, I would deal with Russia. So when you say, when Slavi says that Kirill Dmitriev played Trump or played United States, he just played into what Trump already is and already wants.
It's the easiest way to deal with them, right?
He doesn't have a bad backbone. He doesn't have a moral compass. He doesn't have.
Did you see
kind of human decency?
That's why he wrote in that money, that the frozen assets, all that ridiculous stuff, that Trump would get it and he would control it. That was the exact part that Trump was like, love it, let's do it.
You want to see it just happened. You want to see how bad Trump is for shooting his mouth off, but then face to face with somebody being a proper little coward and, you know, and whatnot. Just go and watch Zoran Mamdani in the Oval Office, and you'll see Trump go from calling him a communist and blah, blah, to saying, oh, it's okay, buddy, you can call me a fascist, you know?
I saw that clip. It was cringe, because that exact video, they also asked about Ukraine, and Mamdani's face was like ridiculous. And they did ask Mamdani, like, you can call me a fascist, because he was like, do you still think that Trump is a fascist?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, what is Mamdani's stance on Ukraine?
I'm not sure, actually.
He's a mayor. I don't think he really talks about foreign policy.
I think he purposely keeps out of that.
Yeah.
I don't trust people who purposely keep out of it. Right.
It's a political minefield. So from his perspective, he's elected not on any issue associated with Ukraine. So if he doesn't speak to Ukraine, it's the safe move for him.
He's very like like pro-Palestine. That's like his whole movement, and a lot of that people from that movement, they are like very aggressive when people talk about Ukraine, because the Palestine, Gaza, that's all that matters. You know, nothing else matters. This is like very
Yeah. Well, you get this whole community thing going in the social media circles, and people that are into this support area, all start to know each other, and it becomes a very community thing, and
It's very odd. I would get like so many comments that I'll be talking about Ukraine in my posts, and people be like, "Yeah, but what about how many kids died in Gaza every day?"
Yeah, I get that as well.
yeah.
And I'm like, both are bad. I mean, one bad thing doesn't make another bad thing okay. I mean, we can agree to fight evil on different fronts. Like, you don't have to make it one against each other. By the way, that's
Yeah.
what Russia does. Russia is saying like, oh, look, these Ukraine supporters, they don't care about Gaza.
Right.
Which
That's
is
what
not
this
true.
is. That's all driven by that, that side of social media that's not very healthy. Right. But they don't need to go to a Ukraine video and post, what about Gaza, Palestine, or anything. There's no need of it, because you just go on to the next video that you want to watch. That there's a certain group, some of them driven by hate, some of them just because they're thumb warriors, some because they're propaganda filled whatevers, but and I can't stand it when people do that, to be honest, because why? There's already lots of people talking about lots of issues. You can't expect the whole world to just on one, like what?
Yeah.
Well, Tommy's in a weird situation because there are sizable both Jewish and Arab slant Muslim populations within his area of interest. And for those populations, that is a key central issue. Even though he has no influence on what's done in that issue, those populations want to hear what your opinion is, and so he's forced to address it. Ukraine, on the other hand, is not a big issue for him because there's not a huge Russian slant Ukrainian population that has demanded that issue be put front and center.
Let's don't forget, Russia is fueling, or did, with money and stuff, the whole like pro-Palestine movement. That's
Yes.
not to say that I'm against that, but it's been ridiculous of everything that came out from that movement specifically. It's
When
been
that
a
whole
lot
thing
of propaganda, a lot of lies, there's a lot of money that was put into it by Qatar, Russia, and that's why movement specifically, I stay away from that topic completely.
Yeah.
So when that whole thing started with Palestine and Israel, Russia was ecstatic because I said that's how we win. This is how we turn West's attention away from Ukraine. West is going to be divided. Yeah, West is going to be divided.
The
They're going to
distraction.
need to, exactly. They're going to need to divide their resources because now you just need to help Ukraine, and now you're going to have to help Palestine, whoever else, right? So they kind of started spreading through TikToks with the help of China and with the help of Qatar. Basically, the sentiment how evil the genocide of Palestine is, and they achieved certain successes in this area, and then they started dividing people based on that. The Russian psyops, where they were saying like, if you support Ukraine, but might be a hypocrite because you're not supporting Palestine, and vice versa. So they would try to separate people based on those issues.
I remember when the whole movement, we have a lot of questions coming in, but just there was a movement when it started, and it was the most ridiculous. It was a letter from like, I don't know if it was like Saddam Hussein, and it was like a letter to America, and all the kids on TikTok went crazy about it. Like American kids, they're like, oh, like he was right. Like I lost my mind. I was like, this is where we're at right now.
Short attention span theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the question.
Can we
Does
quickly talk about like the American politicians are getting death threats, or we can do the question, but I'm just curious, like how did Marjorie Taylor Greene get a death threat? Because she also got like swept by this Trump's crazy thing that he's doing, and that kind of fractured the whole MAGA movement for the time being.
There's a lot more to her issue than meets the eye. You have to dig a little bit. First off, she becomes fully vested in the congressional retirement plan on the 3rd of January. She has announced she's leaving Congress on the 6th of January. Coincidence? There's also speculation that she intends to leave Congress because she's going to be running for the governorship of her state. So she's not necessarily stepping out of politics. She was kind of, I think, pissed off because she did so much legwork in the campaign for Trump. She expected a cabinet position. And when she didn't get one, she started voicing sour grapes, which turned the great orange one against her. So now she's having to, exit stage left before he can utterly destroy her. I think that's kind of what's going on here.
But what did she do
I just
exactly?
don't trust her, like her act of being all righteous now. I still think there's a lot more to it. A lot more.
Yeah.
She thinks
she has. Yeah.
She believes in weather control. She's an idiot. That's the bottom line for me.
She's such an idiot. She repeats every piece of Russian propaganda that comes across her. She's an avid Ukraine hater. She hates Ukraine, hates support of Ukraine. Any kind of conspiracy theory, she's on board.
I think she watches Ancient Aliens as if it's real history, man.
Jewish space lasers.
But she was such a trooper for Trump. And she had an audience. She has an audience. She has a political power. She has people rallied around her. And her departing from Trump, I'm very happy to see that. I'm very happy to see that. But I'm just curious, how does that happen? And I don't even know what she said. But she's so adamant about it. Like she's like, I'm not gonna back down.
Oh, the Epstein files, right?
Oh, Epstein file. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. She was very adamant that they be released. She was there speaking with survivors and press conference thingies on protests and stuff. Yeah, she was pissing him off huge with that.
Yeah, but those are issues that she doesn't really care about. Why is she doing it? She's trying to build a base, a consensus for something in the future. The speculation among many people is that it's a run for the governorship, but it may just as well be she wants to, get a talking head position with Fox News or something. That. Anything that sets her up for that lucrative post-public career.
Well, now she's going to, like CNN and like the fake news stations that as MAGA calls them.
Yeah.
She's going on everything. I wouldn't think why it would be Fox News. So I think it's more broad that she's trying to kind of.
Yeah, she even apologized about
Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, she apologized for past toxicity and stuff. Like, that was insane to watch. I couldn't believe it.
Toxic politics, yeah.
When you start out as an extreme rightist and you're now starting to talk center right, almost center level politics, there's a reason for that.
Has to.
Something changed. You're trying to set up for something new. That I'm a very cynical person when it comes to these types.
She's trying to get a job as a nanny with the Obamas.
Yeah, right.
Keep in mind, through all of this switch, it doesn't mean that she started supporting Ukraine. In fact, she's upset with Trump with meeting like all these foreign leaders and giving money to saving Argentina instead of like local farmers. So she's very much America first still. And I don't think it was that much of a flip for her. I think she's just trying to get Democrats. Like that's her.
I think we should keep emphasizing that helping Ukraine is America first, because it's good for the wallet, it's good for United States economy, it's good for our allies, for the world as a whole, for the health of our planet. It's such a crazy idea that Russia has instilled in some of these megas, that helping our allies by actually like investing in our military industrial complex, which has been thriving ever since Russia has attacked Ukraine, that is somehow against United States interest. It's like such an America first idea supporting Ukraine.
Agreed.
That's why Trump
Let's
is
get
doing it.
to the questions, because there's quite a few of them.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at the time here. I think we've got 25 minutes. So good time for questions for sure.
And then I want to talk about the sabotage attack, the ship, the Russian ship in the North Sea.
Yes.
But question for Commander. Sorry. Does the British and others not provide intelligence to Ukraine?
I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, all countries are pretty cagey about revealing how much, what kinds of intelligence they're sharing with other countries, especially Ukraine, because they're involved in a war. But I'm pretty positive most of the major European powers are sharing significant amount of intelligence information with Ukraine.
Yeah.
And also this support, United Kingdom does provide intelligence sharing and support with Ukraine, but it's more limited than what United States is able to provide, because United States intelligence network is somehow more robust. I'm not sure what goes into it. I think it has to do with satellites, like thousands of them.
The U.S. is premier in the collection of electronic intelligence, signals intelligence, that kind of stuff, and cryptography through the NSA. The British are still one of the top dogs when it comes to human intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons that the U.S.-British intelligence sharing operations are so beneficial to both sides, because we make up for each other's weaknesses in those areas.
Yeah, like MI6, yeah.
Correct.
James Bond type of stuff. And they've been very open that they are sharing intelligence with Ukraine. It's different kind of intelligence that the United States has, and we need both.
US and British intelligence, they're very intertwined. I was listening to a video this morning, and they're saying that for Brits to kind of just leave the United States and just stop things is very, very difficult, because of UK being so intertwined with the US and like intelligence and military stuff, a lot of contracts. I'm just saying, because a lot of people are saying that Europeans are stopping to buy weapons from United States and all that, but it's not going to be like a hard cutoff for Europe to just leave United States on its own, because a lot of things are intertwined, and UK especially.
And I think that's one of the major, I'm at loss for word, but failings of the Trump administration's people, and Trump in particular, is they don't understand that the cooperative nature of the arrangements we have, not just in intelligence sharings, but also in defense and other things with many of our European partners, is mutually beneficial. And unfortunately, Trump is such a narrow tunnel vision type. All he sees is that the US provides everything, and those are all countries that use the information and the material we give them, and they give nothing in return. That's his view of the world, because it's his view of his business arrangements. Everything is his people that he's partnered with making deals. They're his enemies, not his friends. They're somebody to be taken advantage of,
Right.
to steal from. And that's his worldview in general terms.
Very much.
Next question is, I think, for Johnny and me, but how do Ukrainians feel about Zelensky now? I'll answer is I don't think it's my place to talk for Ukrainians in Ukraine. I would be very angry, but I'm extremely angry with Ukrainian media. And I think a lot part of the problem, the attack on Zelensky now, is how the international media in Ukraine, let's put it this way, how they've spun the whole scandal. Because in the summer, when the anti-corruption thing happened, I took a very different position than most. And I mean, you have Kyiv Independent calling Zelensky a dictator.
Yeah.
If you're calling Zelensky a dictator, this is pure Russia. You're doing Russia's bidding for them.
Yeah.
And I am, so once again, through the scandal, as a Ukrainian, very angry. I mean, get $100 million stolen from energy sector, especially now. Yes, that's angry. Is Zelensky involved in this? No, he didn't know about this, even though it was his friend, his childhood friend, his producer, that was basically involved in this whole thing, that ran away to Israel. But he wasn't in a government position.
Yeah.
This was just a business partner. So to intertwine Zelensky with this, it's terrible. And Ukrainian media, I mean, this is part their fault that Zelensky is under attack again. And it's because Zelensky he's changing laws for the people, what the people want.
Seems to be,
So that's kind of my position, is I'm angry with Ukrainian international media of how they present things. It's not the right time to do this. But Johnny, probably do have a different opinion.
Ukrainian media is, well, I just want to preface this that I have a rule. I don't talk about Ukrainian internal politics. I think everybody should follow that rule. It's up to Ukrainians. Russia is always going to try to involve you into these talks, because for Russia, that's a way for them to divide. That's a way for them to get into your head, to relinquish support of Ukraine. They always try to make it about the personality. They try to make it about, if, let's say, Zelensky is a crappy person, then don't send aid to Ukraine. For them, it's a simple connection. Zelensky didn't do something the way you like to be doing it. Stop supporting Ukraine. Zelensky is a different height than what you prefer, different color eyes, a different maybe religious affiliation than what you like. Stop supporting Ukraine. That's all that Russia is doing constantly and always. And they're always checking in. Do you still support Zelensky? What about now? Well, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said now? Do you still support Zelensky? It doesn't matter. Um,
I found just like even a couple of years ago when we were just getting really into the show, like 6 months into doing it, my Kyiv Independent usage dropped massively just because it always seemed to be trying to make you decide if somebody was good or bad, right or wrong. And it wasn't so much just delivering me the news and facts, you know?
Well, I think one thing you need to realize is that the Russian mindset is still kind of caught up in the old paradigm of the Enlightenment, where the leader is the state and the state is the leader.
yes.
So they're trying to use that same mindset on everybody else. So if you don't like Zelensky, then you obviously don't like Ukraine. If you don't like Trump, then you obviously don't like America, etc. Because in Russia, that is the paradigm.
Exactly.
Putin is Russia, and Russia is Putin. It's a synonymous view of the political structure.
Russians have said it, that Russia is Putin, and Putin has said it. I am Russia. Russians do agree. That's how they think. That's part of their mentality, and they're trying to impose their mentality onto the rest of people. It works to a certain degree because we are there. All these tactics are emotional, you know, but it's the same thing as, like, you know, with. I don't know if it's a good example. Stop me. But you know, sometimes people say, you know, don't believe the science of evolution because Darwin was like married to his cousin or something. Like he had a low personal like moral standards. That's why the whole science of evolution is wrong. This is the same kind of tactic, that because you don't like Zelensky, you should stop supporting Ukraine. By the way, Zelensky is doing great. You know, he has not been in any of these scandals. He's fighting corruption, so it seems, which exists in every country on the face of the earth. It exists in Canada, in
Everywhere.
United States, everywhere. And as soon as Ukraine has announced its division from Russia, which became this war, the corruption in Ukraine has been going down, even during the war, which is incredible. Ukrainians are, it's not Zelensky, it's Ukrainians are fighting corruption. They are having these scandals, they are unearthing it onto the surface. The reason we have a scandal is because Ukrainians are fighting corruptions. If Ukrainians were not fighting corruptions, there would be no scandal. Right now. But the way Russia is doing this, they're weaponizing anything that's coming from that area and say, look, Ukraine is corrupt. Stop support Zelensky. Is possibly
that those inherent sort of in the system corruptions that Ukraine is getting rid of come from the Russian influence, for the love of God. That's good.
Exactly. This whole corruption scandal, on one side is Russia, on another side is some guy that Zelensky knew, like from his childhood or something. Basically, any kind of corruption is orchestrated by Russia in Ukraine, you know, and then Russia is screaming, look,
Wait,
look, there's corruption.
that money was actually going, follow the money, right? So it was actually going to Atlanta, then to Moscow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and you didn't even have to tell me that. I knew it already.
Yeah.
All these corruption scandals in Ukraine somehow lead back to Russia.
Always.
Which
This
is
is a very old tactic. I mean, the British used it against the Indian nationalist movement by trying to point out, Gandhi was doing certain things. He had extramarital affairs, or he was investing or taking money from the funds and investing it for himself personally, and etc. It's a way you undermine the credibility and the legality, the legitimacy of a movement, is to point at the major figures within that organization. And even though the cause is perfectly fine and everything is good with it, people begin to associate the failings of individuals with the whole organization, which doesn't make sense. But that's the way the human mind tends to work.
Yeah.
When there was a scandal in 2023 with corruption as well in Ukraine, with volunteering networks. There was some, of course, there's like thousands of volunteering networks, but there was one volunteering network which stole some money and again ran away to Russia. And Russia just made such a big deal out of this scandal that they spread it all around the news networks. And I had a guy in Estonia reporting on this. They had 90% decline in volunteering donations because of this. So
Wow.
that's how Russia manipulates this information. And then it became really hard. You still have to get donations. You still have to send trucks and cars to Ukraine, collect money for drones and medical equipment,
Everything,
whatever, everything. And it became really, really hard. And that's how Russia wins. Russia unearths these pieces of information, and then it asks you, do you support Ukraine now? Do you support now? What about now? They're still in the wrong. Ukraine is still in the right. You still want to support Ukraine, even though there are things like this that are happening everywhere.
Yeah.
I think for Ukraine, Zelensky is the best person internationally in terms of foreign policy to be doing this. There is no one better that could do what he did and what he's doing. Maybe internal politics, sure, but from the outside looking in, I think if Zelensky would step down, which, by the way, in the point plan, it says that Zelensky has to step down in 100 days.
Yeah.
And I think if he would step
Nothing
down,
about elections in Russia.
Ukraine would lose a lot of support because Zelensky, like him or not, the world that does support Ukraine, they support Zelensky.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Ukrainian international media, that in English, what they don't understand. If you're gonna lose support if you're gonna keep doing this. Internally, sure, rip him apart, do your thing. But when you're saying this to the people that do everything to give you aid and rip him apart, because for many, like even girls, he's a hero. He's like this. It's just such a crazy story, and a lot of women support him. They like him. He has charisma, the way he speaks, everything. It just, there's literally no one better to do. He's iconic. He's a legend. So if he goes, Ukraine will lose a lot of support.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
I totally agree.
Legally, he cannot go. Everything is done in Ukraine. Ukraine is a country of laws. And right now, the elections are governed by election laws in Ukraine during the martial time. So he has to stay on. He doesn't have a choice. And who really wants his job? Like the job that he has, that's like the hardest job in the world right now. I don't envy Zelensky at all. Like usually people want to grow up to become a president. Like who wants to call Trump and say, "Oh, Mr. Orange Face, we love your plan is so courageous. Your courageous effort."
Vance for one.
Yeah. your courageous plan of 28 things, how you're gonna get 50% of 100 billion that Europe is gonna provide. We just applauding, and we're just figuring out the last like, who wants this job? That's incredible, what he's doing.
Yeah.
I have a
Definitely.
next question that's sort of similar to me, but who put out the rumor that Umerov inserted the amnesty to cover his crimes? So let me explain. So in this plan, it says that Russia would get full amnesty for its crimes. That means they would get away scot-free. There would be absolutely zero repercussions. And rumor has it that it was actually Umerov that's, that put it in there, was his doing. The
Wow.
person that I saw spreading that was this MAGA journalist in Ukraine that, for some strange reason, I like what he's trying to do. He's trying to kind of bridge MAGA right-wing people with Ukraine and kind of culturally wise and stuff. And I respect that part, what he does, but also what he's reporting about Zelensky, and he's trying to take down Zelensky and all the things of how Zelensky talks to Trump, like very MAGA points. So it's that guy, from what I know. I don't know internally, but it's this journalist that's a lot of people, follow him. So
Yeah. I just
Maybe,
there's
yeah.
we got what's that? We got a dude in the chat who's playing the the other side of the argument. And he said, I hope he's kidding, but he said, I just found out that Zelensky was an actor. What kind of country would hire an actor to be their president? Like, fuck me, man. Have you ever heard of Ronald Reagan? Holy fuck.
well, you know what, Trump, if you love Trump so much, this person, he was in the entertainment business. He was a showman.
Yeah. And I mean, Trump comes from the real reason Trump has this reputation as this ultra businessman comes from his damn TV show.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so interesting what his producer, the guy that basically made his persona, what he has to say now. And he was like, God, I'm so sorry. I created this monster.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But
I mean, America even had the governor. Come on.
Yeah. And we should always point out that even though Zelensky was an actor and a stand-up comedian, he also built an entertainment empire. He's a self-made multi-millionaire.
yeah,
You know,
but not
he's
only
a
that,
very-
he by training, he's a lawyer. He went to law school. He finished law school.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then
something
he
Trump
built an
would not
empire.
understand.
There's some comments in the live chat. Trump, terrible actor. The only time I ever, except for that pizza commercial where him and that other wife of his ate him backwards. He was the dad in the Little Rascals live action movie from the 90s. And he was about as wooden as like just drawing his face on a piece of wood. It was unbelievable.
He was also in Home Alone as himself.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
No, it was a
Trump,
bit Home Alone 2, I believe. not-
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
not one.
yeah. Okay.
he
I don't think I've
appears
seen
for
that.
like one line. There's a one
Yeah,
line where
He bumps
Yeah.
into the
Kid
kid in the
asks-
hallway somewhere or something.
By the way, Trump did a great job on that role when he played a McDonald's employee. The elation on his fat orange face, like he was really enjoying
I
being
got to make
useful.
French fries.
Yeah. You know,
He was
the fact that
useful for the first time in his useless life.
he learned the magic of his favorite fillet of fish.
Oh, they put fish in here? That's crazy.
It's a fish-like substance.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
catfish
it's
is
fish.
more honest, you know.
I did research on that. It's an actual fish that they
Yeah.
catch off the coast of Australia. They import like tons of this actual fish, and you can see a picture of the fish. It's kind of ugly looking, but it's very tasty and it's an actual fish. Which
Yeah,
is,
you're not wrong. It is actually fish. I'm shocked because that stuff that they call chicken is clearly tofu. But you know,
right. Something.
anyway, yeah. Let's enough about McTrumpland. No, McDonald's. That's what it's called. Right, right.
Remember when Trump used to have steaks? Failed business, but yeah, Trump steaks.
That's funny. Yeah, the guy can't sell a steak worth of shit, but he can sure order himself a filet of fish combo.
He had like a liquor, like a Trump vodka. I mean, he had everything, and he failed at every.
Failed everything except for some idiots from MAGA movement who made him rich.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Well, Russia. It's Russia's doing.
yeah.
Oh, did you guys hear that Trump's son, he said, that was a little while ago, they never relied on United States financing for their golf courses because anytime they needed funding, they would get Russian money. And it was on demand. Anytime they needed money, Russian beneficiaries would step in and take care of business.
Mm.
So
This was happening from the 80s when he was
from the 80s, exactly. Yeah. So
and the whole thing with like Deutsche Bank.
Time warning here. We've got about 5 minutes and then we're into wrap-ups.
Oh, okay. What should we do? 2 more questions for Commander
Your
McMillan,
call.
or should we talk about the sabotage attack?
Your call.
Sabotage.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Listen, all y'all, it's a sabotage.
So there was a
I'm
Russian
gonna get into the song right now.
Russian spy ship in the North Sea, in British waters. That was, I guess it has lasers to scan for underwater underwater cables that it was going for. Then a British jet flies over to see what the Russian spy ship is doing. And what the ship did was that they had the laser and they put the laser into the jet, basically.
Oh,
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Maybe Commander McMillan, you can talk about that.
Yeah,
one.
that's like an act of war, basically.
Yeah.
They've had incidents with this problem near many major airports where people go out and buy lasers and then shine them on planes. And it's certain lasers, in particular the green ones.
yes.
The spectral light is such that if it gets into the pilot eyes, it can cause temporary blindness and even some degree of permanent damage.
Mhm.
So it's an issue, and I think in the Russian fishing ship, not spy ship, they would never do anything like that. It's a fishing boat.
Oh.
Shown the laser because, the military aircraft was surveilling what they were doing and would have been able to see that they were up to something potentially illegal and violating the sovereignty of British waters.
Yep.
It's actually a spy ship. It's not necessarily a fishing ship, and it has double. It has two missions. In the peacetime, it just gathers like regular intelligence, and in the wartime, it's supposed to assist with sabotage, like Slavi said. So it's a warship, and it's doing warlike things.
We used to have those routinely following us around when we were on deployment. And they were always, their argument was, no, we're a fishing ship. We're not a spy ship. We're not following the U.S. Navy around spying on what they're doing. We're just fishing. And you'd go,
they're like,
we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean. There's no fish in this area to catch. You do fishing in coastal waters where the fish are, not out here in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fishing, honest.
We're fishing with grenades.
Yeah.
Well, apparently what it was doing, it was scanning the bottom of the ocean for the cables to
Trying to
fuck with
find where the
them.
cables are.
Yeah.
And then they send their submarines down there and they tap into the cables, and that's how they get intelligence information.
Russia has been very, against the UK. Their propaganda shows have been, probably the same language as how they talk about Ukraine. Brits are enemy number 2 right now. Sorry, what do they call them? The Saxons? It's really
Anglo-Saxons.
Anglo-Saxons. Yeah, that's what Russian
But
propaganda likes to
they
call them.
encompass everyone. They encompass United States in it as well. So Trump thinks he can be friends with Russia. They spew like United States hating propaganda daily. How they're gonna destroy all of the Anglo-Saxon world? How it's an enemy of Russia.
Mm.
Sorry.
No, that's very true.
So the origins of all this lie back in the Middle Ages when the Anglo-Saxons migrated from the continent to the British Isles. That's what this is. This is the Russians pushing back against the Teutonic Knights, obviously.
Something like that. It's as stupid as Russian propaganda can be.
Yes.
But it works, and some people repeat this shit.
This is very dangerous because Russia is getting more and more ruthless, and it may lead to a point where somebody may die from, Russian sabotage attacks from this.
Mhm.
So this is escalating to, and Russia is desperate. When they're desperate, I think they're more dangerous. They become more ruthless. And Russian economy, everything, it's
Oh yeah.
it's dire situation.
It's
But
crashing like Trump's approval ratings.
oh yeah, that's actually a good poll maybe for next time. What's crashing down faster, Trump's approval or Russian economy?
I like that.
Let us know in the chat.
Yes, coming at you next week, fella babies. So we should get ourselves into wrap-up mode. There's a certain somebody in the house here that's getting a little anxious for my time to be focused on him a bit more. Slavi, do you want to take us around, do the honors and stuff?
Sure. Commander McMillan, any final thoughts?
Not really. I think that the situation on the front lines is kind of stable right now. We're seeing a lot of activity where the Russians are kind of trying to solidify their positions around Pokrovsk. But I think we're kind of stalled operationally until the freeze sets in and you can start resuming major operations. So I think the area to focus on is the diplomatic front right now. That's where the big changes and developments are going to be over the next couple of weeks, maybe even months. Aside from that, my usual closing to the audience, please, please, please communicate with your elected officials. Tell them that Ukraine is still important and you still want aid to go to Ukraine. It's important. People listen, even if they're not from the party that you represent or your allegiances to.
Yep.
You still get listened to when you communicate with them.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Johnny, any final thoughts?
Ukraine is doing fine on the battlefield. Ukraine is doing a job beautifully, being an example for all of us. Right now, our fight is here. We have to resist Trump. Not just him, but people who put him in where he is, who are trying to destroy the world order, who are enemies of democracy, of everything that United States has been standing for in the last 250 years. Let's do what Democrats have been doing since the beginning of the year, which leads to fracturing of the MAGA movement with Marjorie Taylor Greene departing, with Trump's rating going down, It's going to take all of our effort, and that's how we help Ukraine.
Good words. Good words. I want to thank our mods here. We got Shayna, Mexigirl, Liam Wakefield, Chris Lundy, Jose, Super Chat, Matt. And I want to give a big shout out here to Anita K, who not only joined as a Shills member, big thanks for that, but gifted a membership as well. Bounce, little Mario, bounce. So big thanks. We love members around here. And of course, also to White Fishy for tossing into the Ukraine Fund. Always appreciated. Slavi, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll have to say that it's so important to call your elected officials, senators, representatives right now. And if you're a citizen in the United States, but please call and tell them you are not with the 38-point peace plan. It's not peace. Just tell them you're against it. It's all about numbers now. So, and they do have to say how many calls they got pro and against. And right now, I think we can, step away from this plan is by having the people call in and raise their voices, tell them that you do not support it. It's not in favor of United States. It's not. So please call. It's so important, especially right now.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of things happening here, excuse me, domestically in United States, a lot of problems, but this is a big problem as well. And it takes just a couple of minutes. You don't have to convince them. All you do is just say that you're against this plan and just a short voicemail, and that's it. And they have to count. So it's all about numbers right now. And that being said, this week was heavy. A secret peace plan written by Russia trying to make Ukraine capitulate and to trade away Ukraine's land, its future, and its dignity. Corruption inside Energoatom tried to dim the lights of a nation already fighting in the dark. And Russia, the same terrorist state claiming strength, is now selling its gold to keep a dying invasion alive. But this war isn't just about territory. It's about whether truth can survive in a world built on lies, whether democracy can outlive a mafia empire, whether freedom still has defenders or only spectators. Ukraine is answering that question every hour. So keep sharing, keep calling, keep speaking, keep standing. You're not just viewers, you're partners in this fight, co-defenders in the information war, and the reason the truth spreads faster than Kremlin lies. To our panel today, thank you so much for your clarity and great points. To the mods on both channels, thank you for coming in here every week. You guys are rock stars. You hold the stream together every single week. And to everyone who tuned in, liked, shared, donated, you're not just supporting a show, you're supporting a nation refusing to die and a world refusing to go inside by repeating the same mistakes. If Ukraine falls, the free world follows. If Ukraine stands, so does every democracy still worth fighting for. So be fierce, be unbroken, be the light Russia can't extinguish. On that note, God bless America to do the right thing, and Slava Ukraini.
Heroam Slava.
Heroam Slava.
It's over. Go home. Go.